I'm Randy McAbee, Tackle Warehouse Pro. Today we're out on the lake. It's the middle of fall and we're going to be fishing underspins. Underspin is basically just a miniature sized swim bait with a little bit of a spinnerbait blade underneath. Great shad imitator. This time of year in the fall, the fish are trying to feed up, get ready for their winter time, and their biggest forage this time of year is shad. So you want to try to match the hatch. The great thing about an underspin, you can go bigger, you can go smaller without having to change the head size. It's just basically changing the tail. I like to use a Bass Tricks style swim bait, cut the head off and slide it onto the hook. You can also use a 4 or 5 inch, like a Yamamoto super grub, single tail grub with the tail up. It also swims great in the water. And it's really a very simple technique. It's basically doing your homework and finding where the bait is. Once you find the bait, it's a really simple bait to fish. Most of the time this time of year, you're going to find the bait and the fish set up on points, main lake points, deep points. So once you locate a point that's got the bait and got the fish on it, it's a lot like fishing a swim bait. I like to set up on the inside of the point, throw out into the deep water. Once you throw it way out there, let it sink all the way to the bottom, and it's basically a slow retrieve in. The tail does its thing and it makes a lot of action, and that blade underneath spins real slow and just throws off a little bit of a flash, imitating the shad or silverside or whatever kind of bait fish you have in that body of water. But it's the retrieve on it is basically a cast out, let it sink to the bottom, and you just basically got to imagine where that bait is. It's just a slow retrieve, trying to keep it usually about 2 or 3 feet off the bottom. The setup I like to use when fishing an underspin is an 8-foot rod, a high-speed reel in the 7.0 to 1 or 7.3 to 1, whatever you prefer, and fluorocarbon line. Either 10 or 12 pound test, whatever the condition presents itself. If you're fishing a little bit of brush or some sharp rocks or something, you got to go a little heavier. But let's head on up to the truck, get a little more detail on the rod, reel, and the setup and how to fish this bait. The lure we're using today is a Blade Runner underspin. And there's really not much more of a shad imitating bait when you're trying to fish this down in 20, 30, 40 foot of water and you're fishing for them schooling fish that are chasing baits, balls of bait. And this is a 1/2 ounce blade, and you can put just about any kind of tail or back that you want on it. This is like a Bass Tricks type swim bait. You cut the head of it off, slide it on there. Another good bait is a 4 or 5 inch super grub by Yamamoto or something, the single tailed grubs. Slide it on there, make sure the tail's up. It got a lot of good action. The line we're using today, I like to use about 10 or 12 pound fluorocarbon. It's gamma fluorocarbon, and I go with a little bit lighter line like that so I can keep the bait down there. You know, you might have to go to 12, maybe even 15 if you're actually fishing around or in brush or near sharp rocks. The reel I like to use on that is a Daiwa Zillion. It's a limited edition. It's 7.3 to 1 gear ratio. They're great casting reels, and you can pick up a lot of line when you're fishing deep water like that because they're so fast. I'm putting this reel on a Dobbins Champion Series. It's an 805 crankbait rod. It's a Randy McAbee Signature Series rod. I like the longer 8-foot rod when you're fishing deep water like that. It allows you to cast the bait a lot farther. With the 805, it's got a lot of backbone. Even though it's a cranking rod, it's got a lot of backbone and a really fast tip. So when you get bit down there in that deep water, set the hook, you got a lot of backbone to get the hooks in there, a lot of backbone to get him out of the brush, and a soft tip once you get him out to play that fish down back to the boat. This is the gear we use today. I'm Randy McAbee, Tackle Warehouse Pro. Check back next week for some fall fishing tips.